Bisa, Vanessa, Bettina, come on. Say what? Come on. Say what? We got Pam, hot topics. We got what the fudge. So bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? You got questions. We got the answers. You wanna chit? You wanna chat? You wanna talk about this and talk about that? You're in the right place to hear the facts. Bring it home. Say what? Bring it home. Say what? The ladies are bringing the conversation. So join us or say what across the nation. Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on, y'all. Say what? Come on. Say what? Bring it on. Say.
Y'all know I gotta hear that part. Say what? Welcome, everybody. It is Saturday and time to come to the table. So we are so happy to have you with us today. What is up, ladies? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Say what?
Say what?
Right out of my mouth.
Raining outside, but it's warm in here. What you say, Vanessa?
Tina took the words right out of my mouth. Say what?
Raining outside, but it's warm in here. So we are so happy to have you with us today. Welcome to the Say What podcast, and we are here to enjoy the conversation at the table. So y'all know how this goes. We cannot go another further without the word of God, and we are blessed to have the junior bishop bringing the word today. Miss Bettina, what saith the Lord?
Well, you know, the bishop never leaves us without a void. Okay,
Absolutely.
a void. That's right. So today we're coming from the New Living Translation. I'm reading 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17. I'll tell you why I just chuckle in a minute. Do not love this world. That is the topic. Do not love this world. Do not love this world, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world, and this world is fading away, along with everything that people crave. But anyone who does what pleases God will live forever.
Amen.
Wow.
So, you know, I tell you, let me tell you something. When God speaks to the senior bishop, he speaks real swift. She says, what is the topic? And he gives her a void. He doesn't wait. He doesn't tarry, if you will. And because we're talking about global things that are happening today, our topic today, so many people are fighting for the wrong reason, right? They're fighting for the wrong reason. They're fighting about things. They're fighting about land. They're fighting about possessions. They're fighting for bragging rights or things of that nature. And we, everyday us who are not in that particular war that's going on right now, we take too much pride sometimes in our possessions. We really do. We take pride in our Coach bags. We take pride in our, in our new vehicle. We take pride in. It's okay to like those things. It's okay to have those things because God gives you what he wants. He gives you the means to provide those things for you. It's when we act like that is the thing, right? Like I got to have, and have you ever seen a person who, and there's nothing wrong with this, people that do this, the person who gets a brand new car and they barely took care of the other car, but now it's always shining. They got a vacuum on it every single week. You know, they're shining up the rims and forsaking. That same person is not reading their word daily, right? But they're cleaning up their car. Keeping your car clean is nothing wrong with it. What are you doing for the glory of God? Mm-hmm. That's what the question is. So that's what that speaks to for me is even when we sleep excessively, right? When we sleep excessively and don't take time for our daily devotionals or reading the word or something like that, then you're giving the wrong stuff the glory.
Mm. Oh, wow. Okay. And that's deep.
Okay. So what I hear also is, loving the things that you have, possessions, from what you said, Bettina, but also not really recognizing the person that gave it to you.
Right.
So the Winans, I'm dating myself, years ago had a song called out, don't love the gift more than you love the giver.
Right.
And I think that that is still pertinent today. If you get something, think of when you were a kid, and my lollipops were everything to us as kids.
Ooh,
So
it's
if you got
still
that
everything to me.
lollipop,
Listen,
oh my gosh, we were so happy with the lollipop. But how did you feel about the person that gave it to you?
right,
So I
right.
think that that's kind of where it causes us to, yeah, this is great. Like you said, brand new car, and you know how we drive around and show everybody the new whip, as we used to call it. It was your whip.
You dated yourself.
But again, the one that gave it to you, that's kind of where we get lost. That's kind of what I hear. What about you, Vanessa?
Yes, but Tina, that scripture, it says, read that, the last part of it again. Do not love this world, or was it the first part? Do not love this world.
Mhm.
Read
Do
that.
not love this world, nor the things in it, nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in you.
And what I got from that when you read it initially is what we all need to keep in mind. I say this every day. The breath I just took, that's God. That came from I am. God is everything. This world is not ours. We don't own anything. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. We can fight over it. I could have a turf war because I don't want you on my street. I don't own this street. I don't
Right,
even own the clothes on my back.
right,
Why should I be a lover of something that I don't even own? Yes, I could buy it, but it is not mine. It can be taken from me just as quickly as I purchase it. So, you loving, the material things, you're not loving again the giver. And he tells you this. God is I am. He is I am.
mhm,
I am. This chair I'm sitting in is his.
right. We tend to keep trying to amass more stuff.
And
We
and
really
that's,
do.
to me, is a cover up for something that we're lacking.
Right,
Absolutely. And look at people, and we've seen people who have large amounts of money, stuff, and if you haven't noticed, they're not happy either.
right,
So that's where we miss it, because when you don't have as much, you're trying to accrue.
right.
And the person that comes to my mind is somebody like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was massive, massive, but unhappy.
hmm
I mean, but think about how many millionaires and billionaires have committed suicide,
Right,
and they
Yeah.
have the world at their feet.
right, right.
So
Money
that's
doesn't buy everything, and that's for sure.
exactly,
Money.
exactly.
And so to that, I want to say, our very, very faithful supporter, Tracy.
Yes.
Tracy's birthday is today. So let's wish Miss Tracy a
Happy
happy.
birthday,
Happy
Tracy!
birthday, Miss Tracy.
Yay.
That's right. Yes, it's her birthday today. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledged her.
Hopefully, she'll have a wonderful day today. It's my
Sounds
kind of
like
day.
she plans
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely. And even just that, it's not something you can materialize. This is a friendship, somebody who supported the show, somebody
Right.
we acknowledge. That's
An
way
appreciative of.
more. Right.
Exactly.
That's way more than purchasing a car
Yes.
or purchasing a house. The house is going to fall apart. The friendship, the person,
Yep.
Right.
that's who we go after. So to your point, Bettina, with the scripture, not being a lover of this world, because
Right.
that's going to pass.
hmm
Because that person is who you go to when the house falls apart.
Hello. What's that saying? You
Absolutely.
can't take it with you.
You
Exactly. There
cannot.
you go.
You cannot. You
There you
cannot
go.
take it with you. You cannot take it with you.
Oh, you
So
can't.
happy birthday, Tracy. Have a
Yes.
wonderful day. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, great scripture. We're going to move on to what's not going on in the world, Miss Vanessa. What's not going on?
What's not going on in the world? Maybe one day I'll have something to put in that segment. But right now, I have to tell you all the stuff that's happening because it's a lot going on. And we'll get into some of it later as well. But the New Hampshire primary, the Republican primaries, were held last week.
Mm.
And Donald Trump won the New Hampshire primary. It's down now to a two-person race. It's between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. Donald Trump won the New Hampshire primary by 54.3% of the vote. Nikki Haley came in second with 43.2%. It's looking more and more like he is going to win the nomination for the GOP. It's looking more and more like it will be another battle between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. What say you?
Bettina, I'm gonna let you go first.
Listen, I feel like when I take the junior bishop role, because that's one of my splashes, I feel like
You gotta behave. You gotta behave.
I have to behave. I feel like I embody the senior bishop in so many ways. So I'm going to start with what the senior bishop would say is, we just have to pray. None of this is a surprise to God. And I'm telling you, I have spent way too many hours, I'm sure, vacillating over the fact that this is even a thing. Like, you are in the process of being indicted. You've been indicted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What is this even a thing for? You know, the rules, shall I say, clearly don't say, oh, well, if you're indicted, you can't run because you haven't been convicted, and still won't shut his mouth when he's been told to cut it out. Just won't. And what's worse, I think for me, is since he was elected back when he was, I think what's most discouraging for me is the way so many people have come out and shown who they really are. People that, and just embolden themselves with being able to say whatever they want to say to you in public, on social media. And because our president lets you go run up to the White House, up to the Capitol, and try to tear it down, we stand firm, and he stands firm with us. So they've become so emboldened with the stuff that they're doing. It gives me, the phrase that comes to mind is, we going to hell in a handbasket. Huh?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If I may piggyback on my sister here, do y'all feel like we're in a playground and the bully has come? And remember when there was a fight? Everybody rallies around the fight. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight. Now, my mom used to tell me, you need to not be in them circles, right? She said, because if somebody shoots a gun, that bullet does not say, we're not going to hit Talisa.
That's right.
But remember when the fight was coming and the bully was coming and everybody's going, ooh, and they just kind of you just watching to see what's going to happen. That's what I feel like is what's going on, because whatever he says, they kind of, if I may use the word, coalesce with it. They kind of go along with it, and it's like, ooh, what's going to happen? Versus, I don't understand why we can't think for ourselves. So to see all of this go on, one thing I will say about the New Hampshire primary, his acceptance speech, he was mad. He was good and mad. And now he's talking about whoever donates to her is not allowed in MAGA world and this, that, and the third. So I feel like we're watching the fight. We're all on the side going, ooh, listening to what's said instead of being able to think for yourself. And that's so what say you?
I'd say next topic, because we'll get into that a little deeper in our conversation.
Absolutely, but I want to acknowledge Tracy. Tracy said, I don't think he will make it to election day. That's an interesting thought. We're going to bring that back around because it's interesting to, determine what
I would like to ask Tracy if she could elaborate on why she feels that way.
Okay.
Tracy,
right,
let us know, give us a little more details on why you have that feeling.
Okay. Dion's saying, I'm embracing the opportunity for people to once again prevail, as we did in 2020.
Yes.
I'm done worrying about whether
Right.
he's still going to be able to run. I'll enjoy the L he's about to take, which bothers him. So to that point,
yes,
again, I just, if I may use the saying we say on the street, fool me once is my fault.
Shame what? That's
Fool
right.
me twice. Actually, it was your fault. Fool me once is your fault. Fool me twice is my fault. So we'll talk about that as we come to that part.
It's just perplexing to try to understand why 50 million people would be voting for him.
And there's
Uh,
your answer. Tracy said, meaning he'll get
yes.
convicted before then and then be
Oh, I
uneligible
can't
to
wait to
run.
bring this up. We're going to
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
it's gonna
this.
be
Oh my
Right.
conversation.
goodness.
Yes.
Well, listen, I just from Tracy's lips to God's ears.
I know. I can't wait to talk about that piece. I'm glad she put that in there. Let me go to the next one so we can get to our topic.
Okay.
Um, Trump has to pay E. John Carroll $83 million for defamation.
Say it again. Say it again, Vanessa. Say the number again.
Trump has to pay E. Jean Carroll, $83 million for defamation. So he denied once upon a time. I'll give you a little background. She sued him for uh, like assaulting her back in the day, years ago, in the 80s, 90s, years ago.
Mhm.
He denied ever knowing her, but then a picture came out. Someone has receipts, and the picture came out showing him, meeting with her. He was in the picture with her. He knew her. It proved he did have some sort of interaction with her, and that he was just not oblivious as to who she was. She accused him of assaulting her in the dressing room. He denied it. He said she wasn't his type, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward, she sued him because, for defamation, because some of the things he said about her, the things he's done and said has caused her to live in fear. She said she has a pit bull patrolling her house, and she sleeps with a gun beside her bed. They were initially asking, the judge was, her attorneys were initially asking for $5 million. But the jury, I believe, wanted to send a message.
That's right. That's
And
right.
awarded her $83 million. They were like, "No, we know you just asking for the crumbs, but we're going to give you the whole buffet."
Mm-hmm.
Do you think she's going to see a dime of that money?
I don't think she's going to get 80.
Correction. Tracy just corrected. It's 90 million because he has to pay the 5 he had before. But go ahead, Bettina. I'm sorry.
Right. So I don't think that he is going to, because they're appealing the 83 million.
Of course, they're appealing.
Right. So my hope is that she at least gets her hands on it, even if with the appeal. Sometimes you just got to hit people in their pocket. So my hope is, you just running off at the mouth. My hope is that she gets several $1 million. It doesn't matter to me, the actual dollar amount, just several million, because you got to hit people like that in their pocket.
And it says the award included $11 million for damages to Carroll's reputation, $7.3 million for emotional harm and other damages, and $65 million in punitive damages, totaling $83 million. And this came out yesterday. So
the other thing to note as well, although he can appeal, he cannot appeal the amount. It's because
Right.
it's a civil suit,
Right.
and they cannot. So that amount will remain in there. So he can try to appeal whatever the ruling is, but again, this is already done, and I believe, this is just me, I believe that that's the only way to get his attention is to hit that pocket.
And it's just, the hits just keep on coming, because the next story, again, he's the star of my segment today, because some of the Republicans rebuke efforts to kill the immigration deal just to support Trump. Mitch McConnell and some other senators have decided to reach across the aisle and support Joe Biden's immigration deal, to try to at least find some sort of common ground to take care of what's going on at the border. However, Donald Trump is asking them not to agree to the border deal. Mitch McConnell said the border is very important. It's a very important issue for Donald Trump, and the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and Congress that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling. I'm sorry I said Mitch McConnell, but that came from Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney made that statement. So now they're in a conundrum because they don't know. They're saying, Mitch McConnell said that if they don't support Trump, it'll look as if he does not have the GOP backing if he wins the nomination. But if they do support him, they could at least come to some sort of agreement to kind of tackle the issues that are going on at the border. So they right now they don't know whether to do right or to do what he wants them to do. I just see this is how we lived the 4 years he was in office, and I just can't see us going back to this type
But
of
this is what I mean about us being in the play yard. We're in the playground, and the bully has said, you either with me or we're gonna beat you down." It's the same thing. It's no different. But in my opinion, I have no sympathy for the GOP. They have had plenty of off
yes,
ramps,
yes,
plenty of off ramps, and refuse to take it.
Mhm.
So if you love it, I like it. That's the
it's
way I see it. Bettina, what do you think?
Most definitely. I mean, they have had multiple off ramps, as you call them, and they refuse to take the off ramps because they hate the current democratic situation. So they're not, this whole for the people, that's not who you're for. You're for the people that are for me. And if by chance the people that are for me are not winning, which is one of that dude's worst fears, is losing
exactly,
anything. I mean,
exactly,
just losing anything, anything.
exactly.
Seriously. So he throws threats around, right? And then they get all flustered and wool gathered, if you will. Because what is Mitch McConnell over there? Mitch McConnell over there stuttering and stammering about, sir? Do what's right because it's the right thing to do.
But is
But
it
that's
really
a
about him, or is it really about the voters that they're afraid of?
no, he wants to sink the border deal so that people will blame Trump for not doing anything about it, so that it'll
No,
make
that's not
his
my
stuff
that's not my
look
question. I'm
better.
asking about the Republicans and why they continuously follow him. Are they worried about him, or are they worried about the voters?
They're worried that reaching across the aisle and actually doing something positive
That
for
part.
us would actually make Biden boost Biden
Mhm.
Right,
and not Trump. That's what
right.
they're worried about. They don't want to make Biden look good. However, actually agreeing to do something and make changes to an issue that's hurting all of us at the border, if they make those changes, it's only going to help Biden. It'll make him look well. It'll make him look like, hey, I solved the border crisis. But if they don't do anything, it'll make him look bad. Then you got the guy that's won the GOP, will probably win the GOP nomination. I can't call him the former P, but you'll have that person who wants to come in, probably take that same deal,
Mhm.
do the exact same thing they were trying to get done when he told them not to do it, and say, hey, I did it. I was able to do it, which makes no sense to me. And you've got people out there who will actually believe that he actually did something when it's already on the table.
But they're
Yeah,
drinking
I
the
just
Kool-Aid. They've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
yeah, they've been
Yes,
drinking the
yes.
Kool Aid. They've been. I agree with that, but I think also it's more the less the fear of him because they know that he has the connection to them.
The thing
So
is,
although let's say for instance, let's say he did not have the support of his voters, they would not be as afraid of him, but more the less the voters. That's why I'm saying
they
what
don't know their power because they're the ones with the power.
yeah.
They are the ones with the power. It's not him. He does not have the power. They have the power. And why they refuse to stand up to a bully, I just don't understand.
I
Yeah.
just like the way Tracy keeps typing
I
the
do too.
baby rump,
Yeah.
because it's like,
Yeah,
remember
drunk.
somebody say, if you don't move your rump, okay, so I'm so
Yeah,
done
it's
with that.
drunk. Yeah, yeah.
So
It's it's a conundrum. It is definitely a
definitely,
conundrum,
definitely.
and it's very tricky. So yeah.
I feel like I always say this, and then I'm going to be quiet because my segment is over. But I always say I wake up whenever I have to read about this. I always feel like I'm in a live episode of The Twilight Zone
Yes.
because surely this can't.
Remember that?
It's like an actual live episode of The Twilight Zone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Tracy explains why she says it because I refuse to say his name. So
High
I
five.
completely
Agree.
High
Agree.
five.
agree.
It don't move around in my mouth right.
Right, right.
Mine either.
Absolutely. 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 Bettina, what the fudge?
What the fudge? So what the fudge is brought to you today. It's a little something from Halloween. You know, I've been in and out. I've had things going on. However, I could not let this one slip by me. You know, when Halloween finds its way, we decide we're going to be somebody we're not. And that's what it's about, putting on a costume. I'm going to not let my words get in the way. And I'm going to let the picture speak for itself. Talisa, what the fudge?
See.
Okay.
This right here, see.
Right. So,
Mm.
yes.
Mm.
So we have what appears to be a gentleman in a toga. Okay. I don't know whether he's a Greek god, a Greek guard. I don't know. However, him belly hanging over him toga and the belt, I'm not sure what the belt's doing under there, but it's almost hidden. A little bit like Rasputia, you know. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. However, I want to address Sha'Carri Richardson.
Oh, is that what?
That's what that is. That's what
I'm
it's saying. I want to address that. So sometimes it appears, now I'm not sure what's going on here. It appears that her assets are on backwards. I'm not sure what's happening.
Is that what they are, assets?
Assets appear to be on backwards. I don't
Okay.
know. And the tattoos are in full display. And it appears that gravity is working against her. I'm just saying, from somebody who is a little top heavy and things could go wrong, sometimes there's certain things we don't want to wear. So when I saw this and it was presented to me, and the shorts are very, very small, very small. I don't know how Sha'Carri feels about this. I don't know. I would like to know. In any event, what the fudge?
You gotta have the shorts so you can run. You know, she's a runner. She's a track star.
But if your assets on backwards, which direction
know,
are you
hey.
running in?
All I'm
Hey.
going to say is one day when I grow up, I'm going to have that same kind of confidence. I want that same confidence when I grow up.
I mean, you can call it confidence.
Right now, I don't have it.
Some people would call that confidence. Others,
That's big time confidence.
yeah, others might say there's some misguidance here,
Woo.
disillusionment. I'm not sure. I'm not saying I would say it. I'm saying others might.
I just want to know where the old mothers. Remember the old mothers that wouldn't let you leave that house like that? Where they at?
Jesus, keep me near the cross is all I'm going to
Okay.
say.
Tracy said, "I will never have that much confidence."
Yeah, that's different. It's different. It's different.
So-
And the hair and everything. It's just different.
Take a special kind of person with that kind of confidence.
You have to know who you are and all the people that's in the line with you. And they got
Girl, I'm telling you. And then if I came out like that, I will fire all my friends.
oh yeah, everybody gotta go.
Have confidence and behave like that and have friends at the same. It just they both can't exist. You can't have
You
friends
buy
with
it,
that kind of
I buy
confidence.
it, go.
Dion said, "Dang it! If you buy it, I buy it. Go, girl. You want to buy it? That's what she gonna do.
No,
That's
thank
right.
you.
That's what she gonna do."
No, thank you.
As they like to tell us, history is not going to be kind.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So, as we have experienced that, thank you, Ms. Bettina, we're going to move on to our hot topic today, which is talking about what's going on in the world. Vanessa, we're going to let you lead this segment.
Absolutely.
And you've been kind of chipping at the bit to kind of have the conversation you wanted to have. So,
Absolutely. Just want to go back for a minute. This is our actual first live show of 2024. Just want to say, ladies, it is so good to have you all here live. Of course, we're missing Senior Bishop. Sonia, we miss you and look forward to having you on our next show. But today, I just wanted to come, since it's our first live show, just wanted to kind of catch up on some of the things that's been going on and some of the things that's just present with us today, because the things that were going on during our hiatus, are still going on. And we just wanted to, just have that discussion. And we talked about some of it earlier in my earlier segment about let's start with Trump, Donald Trump. It's down now to a two-person race. DeSantis, it was DeSantis, Nikki Haley, and of course Trump. DeSantis dropped out and is backing Donald Trump. Tim Scott, who is only where he is today because Nikki Haley put him in the position that he's in, he also backed Donald Trump. And since by him winning the New Hampshire primary, all of the talking heads are saying that they can't find a path of victory for Nikki Haley to win. Although she said she's staying in the race and it's not over until it's over. But all of the talking heads are saying pretty much Donald Trump will win the nomination. My concern is why? In one word, why? Why are we back here, given all that he's having to go through, all of the court cases that he is involved in? We just mentioned him having to pay the $83 million to Eugene Carroll. Eugene Carroll, I don't know why I want to call her John, but Eugene Carroll for defamation. He still has the cases here with Fannie Willis, and that's another topic we could discuss as well. Don't get me started on that one. But there's several cases out there. He is pending so many litigations all over the place, and yet he is still the front runner for the GOP. Why? Why do you think America, his base, is so heavily involved in ensuring that he gets the nomination and possibly back in office?
It boils down to me, Vanessa. It boils down to hating us more than they care about his. That's what it boils down to. I mean, in a phrase for me, we hate what you stand for more than all of the laws that he has broken. That's just like, I would have thought back in my naive days, I would have thought when you were caught on video talking about grabbing a woman by her private parts, that would have been enough, especially for the conservative, oh my gosh, Christians and religious people and this, that, and the other. That didn't do it. When that didn't do it, I said, you know what? The evangelicals, they weren't moved by that.
And who are
when that happened, nothing else from there surprises me.
And that word evangelicals, there's a study that should be done on them, because I have some concerns about the people who fall under that, who are supporting this man.
We all have some concerns about that word, but again, typically, if you look at the origin of the word, the origin came out of the religious right. That's where it came from. Okay, so we talking all way back to Billy Graham and the one that started Liberty University, Jerry Falwell. All that came from back there. Okay, but the challenge is, and they're caught in a conundrum too, those that choose to support and have that title, that this is the person we have and they've chosen, and this is where it's dangerous. When you take scripture and bring it down to where you are, okay, because they have chosen to make him, there's a biblical character by the name of Cyrus, King Cyrus, who was around Daniel's day, and King Cyrus was used to help the Israelites. So what they're saying is that God can use anyone to help and do his will. The problem with that is you don't get to pick that out, and carrying the title is the problem. But again, to Bettina's point, I want to speak to that is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's just, ever since 2016, there is this vibe of defiance. So, on the airlines, we had it, and I felt so bad for the stewardesses and those that were part of, TSA, all of it. They're dealing with this, no, I don't have to. And it reminds me again, going back to childhood. You remember when you learned that word no,
Mm.
and you remember what happened when you learned that word no. No, what? No, we're not going to. And that's not what you have. You have permission to continue to say no,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've just noticed as paying attention to our society, we're in that no, I don't have to phase. So since I don't have to, we're going to kind of go with this. And to the point, sympathizing with some that are in the GOP, they're constantly trying to remind them we've lost with this person many times. But it's the same feeling. We don't care. We're going to do what we want. We're going to do what we want. We're going to do what we want. And that's kind of what I see. The scary part for me is what we do here in the U.S. affects the globe.
Absolutely.
So if you
Absolutely.
notice, when it happens here, it happens here. What's going on in
Absolutely.
Turkey? What's going on here? Because, well, the U.S. did it, so must be okay. That to me is what's scary. Vanessa, your
Well,
thoughts?
I mean, I'm just baffled. I sit and when I see this, when I see he's won this primary here or the primary elsewhere, or, he's got this many voters, supporting him, and see a Tim Scott just saying, "I just love this man." I mean, when I see things like that, I sit and I'm thinking, my Lord, it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's scripture. And if it's worse than what it is now, we have to stay in prayer. Those in Christ have to stay in prayer to make sure they're covered. Because I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and I just don't understand how is that possible to have that kind of love for a wannabe dictator. He said his very first day in office that he said he'll be a dictator for one day. No, he will be a dictator. His very first day, he will be a dictator, and it won't change. And he thinks that, or feels that, the president should have total immunity. That's a dictator.
Hmm.
He will never leave office, and he will do whatever he feels he needs to do while he's in it because he's got total immunity. So it just baffles me to know that there are people out there who supports this foolishness. And I know I'm in left field here, but it would be so nice if all the people who votes for this foolishness would have to fall under his reign. And it would be nice if we could separate. I don't know, it may come to that at some point, but I voted for this person, I can go with that person. You vote for this person, you go there, and you have to live under that person's reign, good, bad, or indifferent. And no, you can't say, well, I didn't vote for this. I didn't expect, well, you voted. And that's how you have to live. Live with your decision. It just
Mm-hmm.
baffles me to know that I sit and I'm thinking, am I crazy? What am I missing? Because I don't follow, I don't understand, and I don't want to understand. So at one point in the beginning, I questioned, okay, maybe I'm missing something, but no, it just,
So,
God gave us common sense, if nothing else. He gave us common sense.
so I just want to pose and put it out there. It's being said that part of January 6th and what's going on currently now, even what happened in Charlottesville, the focus has been we want another civil war. So, do you see that? Is that possibly, and I'm posing this as a question, do you see that as the reason kind of they're saying this is our guy, we don't care, we want to push this thing? Your thoughts,
Well,
ladies.
I would, and I'll speak real quick, Bettina, and let you jump in. I just wanted to say this before I forget. I'm in my 50s now, but anyway, um, there's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg is building that, or allegedly is building that bunker, that $273 million bunker in Hawaii, and other billionaires are building bunkers. I'll just
Hmm.
say that there's a reason why they're building bunkers. They're preparing for something. You know, we're gonna die at some point, in however it is we're supposed to die, but it's a reason they're building bunkers. So that's a possibility, to Lisa. Not certain. Anything's possible nowadays, and wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, there's a reason why bunkers are being built.
Okay, Bettina.
Theoretically, we're in a civil war. I mean, we have been for a while. Seriously. Not a physical go get your weapons, and hunker down and low crawl and, get in your position. Not that kind of civil war. We are in a civil war. This country is not in a headspace to want to be inclusive. They don't want to come together. It's a matter of their hate being stronger than their honest to goodness love for this country. It just has become so clear. And one of the statements earlier, I think Tracy might have said something along the lines that certain followers have allowed the quiet conversations to basically be loud. I can call you this out loud in the grocery store where I know I before I couldn't. So now, because of all of the judges that have been put in place under this particular person, that if I go to court, I can probably get away with it. I can get away with running you down and shooting you when you're doing nothing but jogging. I can get away with these things. And when they're not getting away with it, the temper tantrums, the tantrums that are being thrown, the misguided loyalty that is apparent is incredible.
It
And
is.
you almost want to give every person that you feel like, and we don't know just by looking. Sometimes I think we can kind of catch them. You don't know just by looking. Sometimes you want to just look at those followers and you want to give them that look like, don't try it. Like, don't, like, I'm not that person.
Mhm.
All of that stuff you like to do and all the little cute stuff you like to say and pushing your cart in front of people in the grocery store and throwing your nose in the air like, what are you going to do? All of that stuff. I mean, all of it. It's as minor as that and as major as actually killing somebody
Mhm.
and acting like you have justification. So in theory, we are in a civil war. Honestly, we are. We're already there. It's not literal. However, if you think about all that we've been dealing with and battling with, and you mentioned Tim Scott, listen, all I can think about when I think of Tim Scott is muzzle, mush mouth. Seriously. He's like a muzzle or mush mouth. Stop it. He is identical to, like we talked about before we got on the air, Maba Mama Toba Meba. Abba. Like, dude,
Mhm.
Oh
seriously.
my, oh
Fit
my.
him immediately, fit him for a snug muzzle.
Mhm.
He's ridiculous. And I'm wondering what his family members, close family members, I don't know whether his mother's still here, whether his father's still here, children, what in the world are they saying in the conversation circle?
He
Like,
just
I just
recently got engaged too, didn't he?
oh,
yeah.
what? To who?
Yeah, he got engaged to this woman, and part of it is because they've never had a vice president who's not married. So people are vying for this position, and that's what they were saying when it was 9 of them on stage. They were all vying for this position,
Right. Second
um,
place.
second place, and they're trying to do whatever. But I want to shift for a minute just on the subject of Tim Scott. I feel you ever see somebody who's just trapped?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's trapped. Right
You
now, I'm not
know,
making I'm not making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying in general, the comments that he had, the response that he had the night that Nikki Haley lost in New Hampshire. We really couldn't speak to it. It was kind of like, I can't say this, but you know how when you're trying to say something and can't nobody, you're trying to show it on your face, like, okay, somebody help me. That's kind of the view I have of him. Am I not saying he's not responsible? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I think the challenge of being caught between a rock and a hard place. Your group is like, you have to support this, but you just made me look ridiculous. So what do I do in between both spots? That's just something I'm
but
putting out there.
but at the same time, Nikki put him in the position he's in today.
And she
So
Right.
would too.
so if he was trapped, to me, the easier way out would have been to support the person that put me where I am.
Mhm.
And I don't know if Trump actually does have anything on the people who are supporting him. I don't know. But they do are, and they are acting as if he is a mob boss. Someone said it earlier on, but they are acting as if he's some sort of mob boss. And if I don't support you, if you're not kissing my ring, then we're coming for you. So I don't know.
Arrangement, engagement, don't matter. I looked at who it was and I was like, okay, makes sense.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And to
Whatever
Tracy's
Gilroy.
point,
I'm
what
like,
was going what was going on before that was behind the scenes is out front. So it's strange to us now because we didn't witness that. Now you get to see what's been going on behind the scenes. And in my opinion, you've kind of gotten here out of your own behavior because the former president has been displaying this behavior for a number of years, and people let him off because he was the businessman, because he was this, that, and the third. So you're getting what's been happening all the time, but now we want to act like, we can't tolerate. You've been tolerating it all this time.
But he's got all these court cases. Come on now. He's got, I don't know how many court cases that he has to answer to, potentially go to prison. And then they said, even if he went to prison, he could serve behind bars. Since when? Since when do you think I'd be able to go to court, mouth off at the judge during my trial?
No. Vanessa, you got to take it further. I got to be already incarcerated and said, you know what? I'm running for president. I'm running for president.
But I can mouth off at the judge during my trial and not get held in contempt.
Right, and put behind bars, not just the conversation.
Bars, exactly.
Yeah, but behind bars, look, for 48 hours and a fine.
Exactly.
Right. But to the point, if whoever's in jail, because it hasn't been spoken to in the Constitution, they can run for president.
That's when you amend the Constitution. That's when it should be amended. But they never thought that we'd have someone of the likes of him, trying to run for president.
That needs to be looked at anyway, though. It does need to be looked at being amended since we're in unprecedented times.
Absolutely.
Right? And so as we move, we have to stay, this country has got to stay fluid, right? You can't be like, oh, this is the way it has always been, because some of that, the way it's always been, has always been wrong.
Exactly.
So when people say, oh, we've always done it that way, well, you were always wrong. So yes, there is time for change. There is need for change.
But think about this. Every few years, there's a voting rights issue that comes up. You got to go back and revisit voting rights for Blacks. You got to go back. Now, they just reversed Roe versus Wade. Why can't we address that in the Constitution? Why can't we look at that? Okay, well, we got a president, an ex-orange guy that once held office, once was in the Oval Office, who may potentially be behind bars, running for president. That's something that they should have corrected. If it were President Obama, how long do you think it would have taken them to have gone back and made amendments to that? Come on now. They gave him a hard time for wearing a tan suit.
Wait, no. Take it before that. Before the tan suit. When you had Professor Gates at his home, get arrested outside his home, and the president spoke to it, they jumped all over him. That's
and not just that, but his pastor. When his pastor said what he said at the church. Oh, Jesus. Anywho, that's what we have to look forward to for 2024 for this next election. It's like, okay, we got to go through all of this again. So, have your Tums and your ginger ale for your upset stomachs and your headaches on deck, because it's not a pretty thing. Also, wanted to touch on the Israel-Hamas war, just give you some updates on that. I don't know if you all saw, but the other day in the news, they reported that the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, also called the UNRWA, they fired 12 aid workers who were accused of involvement in the October 7 attacks in Israel. Did you all know that?
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
12 aid workers were fired because they were accused of being involved in the October 7 attacks in Israel. And now there's a huge investigation going on with that. It's just, that's deep. This war is really deep, and it's stretched across the globe, and people have taken sides in places and in positions that you wouldn't think. An aid worker going over to distribute aid, you'd think they would be they wouldn't have a side. They're just there to help. But oh my goodness, it's just crazy.
Everybody has an opinion and everybody has a side. Whether they display it or not, we have an opinion, we have a thought, we have a side. That's not as much an issue for me as how you display that. that's when it becomes an issue, when you are not able to allow this to do what it's supposed to do,
Right.
especially when directly you are affecting or trying to infect the people around you with your opinion and your thought on this. There are people with such strong opinions who don't have a dog in the fight, so to
Mhm.
speak. And they literally are getting out here and scratching people's eyes out figuratively, because what do you mean? Why are you not? And in mixed company, I refuse to even have this conversation. I'm not going to have this conversation.
Mhm.
There are certain things that I will not do, and it's not for fear, it's because I have to protect my peace of mind.
Exactly.
I have to protect my peace of mind. In open forums, we can discuss our thoughts and when you start getting in mixed company and people are already sitting back locked and loaded, for a lack
Mhm.
of a better phrase, and they're ready to dive on anybody that disagrees with them, that's not a conversation I'm ready to get into or a debate I'm gonna have.
You're right, because it's a lose-lose. It's not like you're gonna win the conversation.
It is a lose-lose. You're
It
right.
is. It is.
And I
Talisa?
think that that's the challenge because again, people are looking. First of all, let's start one. Whenever an issue comes about, people are looking to blame something.
Hmm.
So I want to blame something. And since this is so complex, is the word I heard, people are struggling with put. So now I want to put it on this, and you can't.
Right.
It's very complex. And for an example, I want to, if somebody wants to blame Israel, okay, but they were attacked. So they're responding to being attacked, right? And then people say, okay, well, yeah, you can respond, but you can't respond that way. Last time I checked, when you're in war, we don't get to say that, right? So again, it's a point of people feel like, well, I feel you should do, and unfortunately, you can't come to that conclusion unless you look at the whole thing.
Right.
So I think that's the challenge. It's just people wanting to blame something. This is what blame. They attacked Israel. Israel didn't start this conversation. And I'm not saying I'm on the side of Israel. I see both sides.
Mhm.
But I think you have to consider everything, not unless, and you ladies can speak to this, not unless there was a premeditated thought before that. And this is just what confirms it. Ladies, what do you think?
So that whole "you attacked me," and now your response is, "But I shouldn't have responded that way." Be careful who you attack, because first of all, you don't know who you attack. Because if
Mhm.
you're going over there with a pea shooter and they have machine guns and AK-47s and whatever else, what you can't say I'm gonna attack you. Oh, but you wasn't supposed to do it like that. You're
Mhm.
Right.
supposed
Right.
everybody was just supposed to fight with a stick. Then you'd have messed around and pulled out another weapon. I thought we're not Geneva Convention and you on what weapon you decide to use.
Mhm.
You decided to come in there and start tearing up stuff, kids, women, babies, and everybody else. And
Right.
now we over here acting ratchet, so to speak. And now you want to know, well, hold up, wait a minute. I ain't want you to put no base up in it. I didn't understand that. That's
Mhm.
what's really happening.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And again, you've heard the phrase casualties of war,
Mm-hmm.
and the phrase the good sometimes have to suffer with the bad,
That's exactly
because
right.
that's what's happening. A lot of the complaints about Israel's response is that they're killing a lot of innocent civilians. And it's because Hamas has intertwined. They've moved within the civilian realm, and in order for me or Israel to get at you, they've got to go into those areas. And unfortunately, a lot of innocent civilians are being injured and or killed, and that's where a lot of the complaints or the discord is coming from.
So
I
to
like
your
what
point,
Tracy's saying. Yeah.
Tracy's saying the U.S. is on the wrong side of this conflict. Israel's committing genocide and has been committing genocide for over 40 years. They stole the land from the Palestinians and claimed it for themselves. So we welcome different perspectives because that's what this is. It's a discussion, right? So we're looking at it from the U.S. being on the wrong side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without the U.S. committing, they're an ally, right? So no different than that we go to the war in Iraq, right? We came out of Iraq and they had promised that they'll keep women's rights established. No more than 60 days after they was gone, women couldn't go to school, they couldn't do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Now we're their ally, right? So are we also on the wrong side of that? See, there's a whole lot to consider. And based on what we're talking about, this is what makes it complex. And it's important to be able to note if we're going to do this with one, we do with the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the battle. So if I premeditated already thought something about Israel, then yeah, I might think that. But if not, again, I'm attaching it to different things because there are different places in this world that are allies with us that do things that we don't necessarily agree with. Ladies, what do you think?
All wars are not created equal.
Right.
All conflicts are not created equal.
Mm-hmm.
That's in a nutshell for me.
And when you're in war, it's not going to be perfect anyway. It's war.
And if you come to me with it first, then the rest of your war plan should say expect retaliation of any measure, of any kind.
Exactly.
Expect me to come back at you to revenge what you've done to me, in whatever measure I seem or deem fit. Because what Tracy stated is true. They've been fighting over that land, which is one of the reasons why Hamas attacked Israel to begin with, because they were right there on the border. They did it right there at that border. The way they did it, I don't think was right.
Right.
That's just my opinion. However, again, you brought the fight to me, and I should not have. You should not give me your guidelines on how I should respond.
Absolutely.
And as far as
I'm gonna say this last thing because we're about to go. And I hate to interrupt Vanessa, but again, you brought it to me. Bettina, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds for you to respond.
Okay. So I'm not going to respond. I'm going to switch the whole topic, and I'm going to say I want to send out prayers to the entire King family. Dexter King passed recently from colon cancer, complications of colon cancer. So I didn't want us, since we're talking about things going on in the world, I didn't want us to miss that. There are only 2 of the Martin children, surviving Martin children, and that's Bernice and Marty Martin III. So I would like to make sure that we address that and send the prayers out to that family. It just breaks my heart because I had no idea that Dexter was even ill. He's been kind of back for a long time and behind the scenes, working behind the scenes for the King Center and the foundation. So I just want to address that because the other part of this stuff is giving me a migraine.
And
Absolutely.
was it colon or prostate?
It was prostate.
Prostate, my bad. It was prostate cancer. It sure was. Thank you for the correction. Yeah. Same thing my brother had. It was prostate cancer.
As you can see, this conversation can go on forever. Unfortunately, we won't be here forever today. We will be ending right now. But y'all know how this goes. Conversation will continue. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We are so happy to have everybody here again. Happy birthday, Tracy. And we will be back in 2 weeks to make sure that we have more conversation here on the Say What podcast. We love y'all. We'll see you in 2 weeks. See ya.
Get ready for Sonia, Teresa, Vanessa, Bettina. Come on, say what?